Umamibo blend because it seemed really cool. I thought this would be just black coffee because it doesn't say milk anywhere. But I can see that there are like some milk in it. It's not entirely black. I don't know if you even see that, but it's really warm. It's super sweet, super like artificially sweet. But it is good though. I will drink it, but probably not take it again. Okay. First thing I bought in Osaka. So yeah, I'm now in Osaka. I've arrived here. The buildings are really tall, so my Google Maps have a hard time finding out where I am. But I've figured just by walking a bit, so now I'm gonna go to my first destination.
All of the time we spent together in our prime, we were birds of a feather, different kind. We were laughing through the pain, you were never once so vague. Cut the cord that kept us connected, blacking out the mirror where your light once reflected. All of the love from up above, we used to feel like a glove. I still think about the you that only exists in my brain. Nothing ever stays the same, guess it's just a shame with no one to blame.
So at that little pond, I met an older man, and I think he said he was from Korea, so he speaks Korean, Japanese, and he was pretty good at English. So we ended up chatting for a while, which I feel like I didn't expect to experience so much. Multiple people have spoken to me, especially if it's like a place where you usually stop and like have a little look. My two last experiences in Japan, nobody really spoke to me, but I think maybe that was because I was with someone and not alone. That's actually been really surprising. I didn't think that many people would speak to me because usually Japanese or a lot of Asian countries are known for like being confident in their English. I feel like when you actually speak to them, they know way more English than you expect. And I think a lot of them are better than what they think. It was really nice. Something I wanted to speak about earlier, but I didn't because I got friends. I stayed one night in Nara and now I'm in Osaka. 3 days ago in Kyoto at that hostel, I met two girls and one of them is Peyton, which you saw in my two last vlogs. And you're probably gonna see her in my vlog for tomorrow because we're meeting up again in Osaka then. But at least I didn't speak that much about it because other people were around. But the day I arrived for my first vlog in Kyoto, I was feeling pretty shitty, to be honest. I had been a bit depressed because I wasn't sure I wanted to go to a city alone. And I have a lot of things happening at home right now. It's not life or death, so it's not something really, really serious. But you might have caught on from me being alone on this trip that me and Birk broke up. We were planning on going a month together, traveling Japan. But since... it's a lot of people here now. But since we broke up whilst I was in Australia, I have been feeling pretty lonely and a bit sad about it. I don't know if I've said it in a vlog before, but the apartment we live in at home, we own. We bought it 2 years ago. So since we broke up, we're now in the process of selling it. And that has been stressing me a lot the last months. So I felt like I couldn't really enjoy Australia to the fullest because I was really stressed about that. Since I still live with my ex, I don't feel like I can go out and like flirt. Not that I want to flirt. I don't think I'm like ready for a new relationship, but I don't want to lead anyone on. I'm still in the like headspace of I'm processing a breakup, but I still live technically with my ex. We're gonna try to fix that as soon as I come home. So the reason I only stay 8 days in Japan is because we're in the middle of trying to put our like apartment back out on the market, and I don't really know where I'm gonna live after that, or if I can buy something by myself, or if I'll have to rent for a while. And my parents live too far from my school, so I can't really live with them. So I'll probably stay with some friends for a little while, and that's fine, but I don't want to like crash their place for too long, so I need to figure out my living situation. So it felt a bit like the stress wasn't really over, and I have had so much on my mind that I thought I would rather just go home and get over it with a little bit of the planning and feel like I'm working on stuff and not just like pushing it further back. But me and Birk is still really good friends, and nothing bad really happened. It was just a tiny bit of us realizing we weren't necessarily a really good match. Not in the sense that we aren't good people or that we don't have the same values, but yeah, I think we both need to grow as individuals a tiny bit. Maybe in the future we would work better, but I don't think so. I think it's pretty fundamental, like how we are as people, that didn't really match, and we didn't necessarily push each other in the directions we individually want to go. We were kind of going our separate ways, interests-wise. So it made more sense just being friends. But yeah, that means a lot of stress and unsure living situation. So I was pretty unhappy the entire travel to Japan, and I was really tired. But after just walking a bit around, I feel like my head cleared a bit more up. Peyton, he didn't really know what direction she wanted to go, and she had some insecurities around that, and finding like her next degree, because she probably wouldn't want to work in the field she studies now. And I totally understand that, because if I haven't said it before, I did study mechanical engineering for 1.5 years, and then had to reevaluate like my values when it comes to working and personal life and happiness. So I think I had some good insights to give her there. One of my best friends, she also has ADHD. I feel like I can understand some of the struggles because I have dyslexia, and even though the struggles are the same, it is like a common ground on having struggles. I've noticed that it's harder to find something stable because you lose interest, and I can relate even though I don't have it. I think everyone can relate on some aspects that your interests fluctuates, and most people don't like having to do the same thing for too long. We like changing it up a bit. So we talked about what type of works there are out there, because you kind of have intervals on what you do. So my degree, which will be user experience design, it's my main field. I might not work in that like directly after school. I have something else lined up that is in the ballpark, but not really there. But what I wanted to do with user experience design, you kind of get a problem that you need to work on and solve, and it might last a few months, or it might last maybe a year if it's a longer problem. And when you're done with it, you get something new. You might go back and fix small stuff, but you usually get something new after a few months to a year. So that's the intervals with user experience design. But then you have, and it can be really different problems and really different projects, so you get to actually change it up quite a bit. But then you have my mom, who's a nurse. Her problems is closer to what they're about, but the intervals are way shorter because a patient comes in every day and she might have 3 cases each day, and it's different people, but the problems are pretty similar. And me and Peyton talked a bit about what your need is. Do you need pretty similar stuff and small intervals in how often you change up what you do? Or do you like having a project or a problem that you need to work on for a longer while? Or do you want something really the same type of work that goes for a long time. Also, like, how much interest-based does it need to be? And I think we came down to actually, if you're gonna work with something, you should really enjoy what you do. And I know that work becomes work after a while anyways, but if the intervals are a good amount of like time in between, and the difference in the projects are different enough that they keep you like a bit on your toes, a bit interested, and a bit like, this is a new problem, I need to wrap this in a different way than the last time, then you'll probably be able to work somewhere for way longer without just losing interest and not being able to focus on it. And I think that is actually something I've never heard somebody speak about before. Like, you can get a lot of good job advice out there, but the intervals and the difference in your tasks is actually quite important, I feel like, because you don't want to be tired or bored of your job after a year and then have to do it for 20 more years. You want it to be different enough. I feel like I've said this so much now. So I hope like you get what I mean. And if you have any good job tips, leave them down below. I feel like that's a perspective that is good to have in the back of the mind. And for me also, when I did mechanical engineering, I really like problem solving, and that was one of the fundamentals that I wanted for a job. And I like creativity, but I kind of didn't focus that much on that one when I chose mechanical engineering. I also like structure, which I thought if I do mechanical engineering and end up in a leading role, it would make sense, because then I can kind of create the structure for a lot of other people. But it didn't necessarily have that much like structure in it. And when I took a gap semester, I wanted to do something more creative, because that like part of my brain hadn't been able to like do anything in a long while. And I really wanted to reactivate that one. I thought about like graphic design and something in that ballpark, but then you wouldn't really have the same amount of like problem solving, and you can have structure, but it's not necessarily as much structure. So then I only feel like this part, but I really need a triangle. That's 3 of my fundamentals. So when I found user experience design, which has a lot of structure and you need to build inside the structure and you need to make everything cohesive, and I love organizing and stuff like that. It's kind of that part of my brain gets to like enjoy their time. And then you have problem solving, because that's kind of the reason you do user experience design, to like make something better for a user. But then you also have to use a lot of creativity, because it needs to be pretty and it needs to attack the problem from a new perspective, and it needs to be a bit fun so the user is like happy using it. Not just having a good experience, but actually a pleasant one where they enjoy seeing all the visuals. So I feel like that was my perfect triangle. So I think that's a real spot on. Like, user experience design is like in the middle, in a perfect center. After starting studying it, I still love it, and it's like my dream job. If you have some fundamentals, like fundamental values or fundamental interests that really keeps you going, you should really like write them down and try to figure out what job. Actually let your brain work on all of your interest areas. That was something we talked about, which I thought might be helpful for someone else. So if you're also struggling finding out what to study, that is my tips. I think my outfit today is a tiny bit cute, so I'll show you. A lot of people are also so polite because they say like sorry whenever they go behind me or see me filming. And I feel like I'm just sitting in the middle of the road, like taking up space. But I don't feel awkward when people are seeing me filming. They're just like, oh, that's normal. So I have this skirt from Australia, a little market somewhere there. Even an odd t-shirt. They're a bit see-through, so that's a bit annoying. This sweater, which has like a collar. I think I thrifted in Korea quite some years ago. The stockings I got in Nara, because they were like fluffy on the inside and warm. The socks I think is H&M, and I'm just wearing my Ultra Boosts, which have seen better days. And I got this little beret in Nara. I don't really know the store, but I think it was thrifted. I'm not entirely sure, but they had a lot of berets in different stores in different colors. But I feel like white is my best color, and a color I use a lot, so yeah, I chose that one. So on to my next stop, I guess. So I went to a convenience store and I got a normal pizza bun, a normal rice triangle with kelp, and I got a matcha bun, and I haven't gotten that before. It's like matcha with chocolate inside, but I think it's like matcha chocolate. So I'm gonna save this for last. I've had the pizza bun before. Looks like this. So I'm just gonna enjoy this first. It's just cheese and tomato sauce. As you might know, I'm vegetarian, so everything I eat is vegetarian here. That's why I haven't had anything with fish or anything like that. I gave up looking for a bench, but at the market, I'm pretty close to it. It's just down there, but I've been walking like around the entire market because I want to see more of it, but I couldn't find a place to sit. But I did find like cucumber sushi that's like freshly made, and then I have two of these, one with sweet red bean paste and one with custard. So yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy it here on my bench. I don't really know if Japanese people never sit down or where they eat, because I don't really see them eating anywhere. I've done a little haul in general, but also a food haul, so I'll probably show that when we come back to the hotel. I can check in. I could check in for like an hour ago, but I'm still walking around in the city. I kind of want to like see as much as possible, because tomorrow I'm going to Universal Studios with Frank. And then the day after, I can either stay here for the day or I can go to Tokyo and spend the day there. My original plan was to go to Tokyo, but now since I'm going to Universal Studios, I might spend half the day here or most of the day. At least I bought one more drink. I'll figure that out after I know how much of my day here I have accomplished. Because if I have a lot left to see, I might spend more time here. And if not, I might go to Tokyo. But yeah, I haven't tried this yet. It like made the fizzy drink sound when I opened the bottle. So I'm really excited to try. But this is so warm. This is the first one that has like really burnt my hands just by holding it. Even though it's called donut, it's not as sweet as a lot of the other coffees. I really like this. I think this is now tied with the hazelnut coffee drink. It's really good. I'm gonna enjoy this.